This is Joe Castello's WFO Radio Ignition, covering everything that has wheels, an engine, and a driver.
The reason I race is to get the chicks. You know what I mean?
NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, sports cars, and NHRA drag racing.
Hey guys, just want to let you know, WFO rocks.
WFO Radio is total motorsports.
It's just so cool.
Fasten your seatbelts, fire up the ignition, and drop the hammer.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now, here's your host, Joe Castello.
WFO, what's up, everybody? Ignition is back, and this is a special Get Ready for the Weekend edition. All the NHRA Nitro interviews are in the archive, and we have got Erica Enders and Steve Torrance. We got Tommy Johnson and Alan Reinhart, me, Joe Castello, and it's all great. But now it's ignition time because we have finally caught up with Giovanni in Miami. Been spending days trying to track this dude down, and we finally got him. Giovanni, where are you?
Can you hear me, Joe?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right.
I heard
I'm
you.
Gio in Miami.
You're in Miami, exactly. That's the answer I wanted. We're off to a good start. I wanted you to say Miami. Now, what's cool about this is that this is the late in the week Ignition show, which is very different. So let's just assume that everybody is listening to the show on Friday and everybody is getting ready for the weekend. Look out, weekend. Here I come. Because weekends are made for fun. And we're going to get into a bunch of different stuff. It's going to be very rapid fire. Gio not being in the studio means we're not going to do like a 2-hour extravaganza, but we are going to cover as many of the things that we can remember to cover as best as we can. And I've got a lot of great stories myself in that we went to, we had the Daytona 500, Ryan Newman's big crash. That whole experience has yet to be discussed. I'm back from Arizona, the NHRA Arizona Nationals. Lowe and Little Lowe came out to the race. Dave and Amy came out to the race. I saw a whole lot of people out at the race. We had a great time. It was amazing. We're going to get into that. And the start of the remainder of the motorsports season, right? Gator Nationals are a couple of weeks away. We've got Fantasy League. Joey Logano wins in Vegas. Matty D, unbelievable. Matty D, that's results. We'll touch on that a little bit. Auto Club 400 this weekend in California. Rich and Saugus is going to be out there. So we got plenty to talk about. Fantasy League, we'll touch on it. If you're new to WFO Radio or you're an NHRA Nitro listener and you decided to click on Ignition to see what it's all about, this is probably not the best example because normally it's a studio show and instead we got Giovanni on the phone line because he didn't feel like driving up from Miami today. Now, where were you? You were at Little League Baseball.
Yes, I was.
Did you win?
No, it was a scrimmage game against another team, but we didn't really keep score. They were just keeping outs.
Got it.
So when you made 3 outs, the next team came to bat.
I like it. No, it makes perfect sense.
And we had, the kids weren't pitching. The kids were just batting. And we had, one coach pitching to everybody.
Well, very good. A lot of fun.
Right.
The Little League Baseball is
No,
a whole
it
lot
was.
of
It
fun.
worked out really good, but, it was scheduled originally as a 1-hour practice, and then they decided to do this scrimmage with the other team, and it became a 2-hour practice. And I got to tell you, I think that's a little much, but I'm not going to be that whiny guy, that person complaining out there that, hey, come on, it's I don't even know what day of the week it is.
Yes.
It's a weekday night. They have school tomorrow is all that matters.
For those that are listening,
they're 9 years old.
It's Thursday night. My opinion, having experienced a little bit of the Little League Baseball and remembering when I was a kid, I don't remember it lasting 2.5 hours. I mean, maybe it does, or maybe it did, but it didn't feel like it lasted 2.5 hours back then. And now the game that I went to with you the other day, it did last at least 2 hours and 20 minutes. It was long. And your practices are 2 hours. So I guess the good news is he's going to be really good at Little League Baseball. But the bad news is you guys are married to Little League Baseball.
I mean, we have been for a while. It it is really more of a 2-hour practice. It was not 2.5 hours. And like I said, practices are generally an hour. And when they go long, they go an hour and a half. This was a special occasion practice.
And
now,
after
the games
it's over,
say,
there's pizza and everybody's commiserating and you're dying to get out of
right.
there, but you don't want to be rude. And it's crazy stuff. All right, let's move into.
Yes, no, it does become a long thing. The games are, like I was saying, are a little bit long because they go about an hour and 45. But that's just, if it could go to the end of that inning after it's been an hour and 45. And so forth, and like you just said, they all have like a snack afterwards, like a different parent.
Too long.
Snack
They need to
for
put the
whole
pitch
team
clock
afterwards, and it does become a little long.
The pitch clock needs to come in for Little League baseball, not real baseball. And we'll talk about real baseball in the Sports Collision at the tail end of the show. Of course, the Yanks getting a little bad news about Luis Severino. I guess if we're looking at the bright side of the deal, the guy's getting Tommy John surgery. In 2 years, he'll be pitching 110 miles per hour. But until then, it's bad news. It's bad news. Okay, so I went to the P.O. box today. Before we get into all the craziness, because I want to make some commentary, rapid fire on various subjects. I did go to the P.O. box. We have been making a big deal about get the new WFO radio stickers. And you can do that by sending a self-addressed stamped envelope to our P.O. box, care of Castello Media /WFO Stickers, P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33084. But I hadn't been over there to check on it in a while. Coincidentally, 2 weeks or so, 2 weeks. And I got an email from someone like, hey, man, where's the stickers at? And I was like, I better go check the P.O. box, right? And Giovanni, it was the greatest bounty of self-addressed stamped envelopes we've ever had. It felt like Deadliest Catch when they pull up the crab pot and it's loaded with crabs, except it was much, much easier than that. Because I have told the experience of many times of schlepping on over to the post office, and I always walk there because it's part of my fun. I get some exercise in. I walk over to the post office box. I think about how many envelopes are going to be inside the post office box, and I stick the key in there, and I turn the key, and I open the door, and there's nothing in there. Over and over again, maybe, just like Deadliest Catch, there will be one piece of junk mail in there, some sort of start your checking account with Chase Bank form letter. You've seen those. Well, on this given day, we received so many. The entire post office box was practically full. Not busting at the seams or anything, but certainly a very acceptable haul. And I came right home, and I sat down immediately, and I stuffed all these envelopes with WFO radio stickers, and they're all set to go out tomorrow. So you WFO radio listeners out there that thought it was all bull, it's happening. And you can send your own self-addressed stamped envelope to WFO Stickers, get the round sticker. But we also got a Christmas card.
Oh, wow. That shows how long it's been.
Yeah, but it's confusing because it says, wishing you a very Merry Christmas. I really enjoy the NHRA Nitro podcast, says Mart Flatguard. I think that's what his name is. Happy New Year, Joe and Gio. Enjoy the merry, merry ways to celebrate the holidays and have a happy season, says Mark Flatguard. Except Mark addressed this on 1/20/2020.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a little confusing, Mark. You should have addressed it for our birthday,
confusing.
but we'll take it. It's in the studio. Maybe he was. I don't know. It's just a bizarre circumstance. But we got. I'm gonna name check everybody. We got Harv, who is a longtime listener. Harv from Illinois is a longtime listener. He did not follow instructions. He just put stamps in the envelope, and I had to fill out his thing. Do not follow Harv's example. But the other side of the coin is Harv bribed me to fill out the envelope he included his address on a Post-it note, but then included some cool stuff for us. For instance, a Pontiac Grand Am Pro Stock inaugural season Pontiac official car sticker with Warren Johnson's Grand Am on it. He also sent us an event ticket from US 30 Drag Strip which looks like it could have been from a long time ago. He sent us a admit one adult $12 Memorial Day weekend Great Lakes Dragway ticket from Saturday, May 26th, 1979. I found that to be very interesting. He sent a Courtney Force, I Want to Race, vote for me in the Traxxas shootout sticker that he was obviously trying to get rid of. And me and the Vote Force Traxxas, Vote for Brittany's Got Talent, August 18th stickers. He sent those to me. He also sent me a Broadway Bob Metzler trading card, which is kind of interesting. Some Florida stamps. He sent me a potpourri of stuff. And so I felt like, you know what? I have no problem filling out Harv's self-addressed stamp envelope. He's trying to buy me off. But nobody else do that, please. We got this other one from Norfolk, Virginia. We got one
unless you're going to send a whole bunch of stuff to Joe. And Gio, don't forget, there's two of us.
Send money. Money is great. No, you're not allowed to say send money. K&M Motorsports from Matherson, Michigan sent one. The Pool Michigan. The Pool family from Poolsby, Washington sent one. Let's Jack, what is it? From Denton, Texas sent one. I'm not saying your last names on purpose, people. I don't think you want your last names. Some folks from the Collision Center in Nebraska sent one. A guy named Dan from Bluff City, Tennessee sent one and wins the nicest envelope award. It's typed. Like he typed it out. I thought I was getting a summons, but instead, no, I sent some stickers. Our great friend Kevin Luttrell, who is a very Sacramento racing fan, has been with WFO since the satellite radio days. Kevin, sent you a bunch of stuff as best as I can. And this one, Kyle from Maryland and others, right? Like I got a bounty of envelopes, and I sent them all out, so everybody else should send their own envelopes, and I'll do that. Like, we'll make it a thing. And you get free stickers, and the way I got it figured is like one stamp is worth 4 stickers. And if you put a couple stamps on there, I'll give you more, assuming you're going to recruit friends with these great stickers. Stick them on stuff. And go into the urinals of your local track and put them right above the pee spot, right? Like where you got to stare in the bathroom, in the men's bathroom, you're at the urinal, and there's a spot that you're really supposed to stare at, or inside that they go right there, and so everyone can learn about the podcast. It was a very fun day, fun experience.
By the way, those folks, what you should do is put a couple of stamps on there, 2 or 3, and put your address on both the front of the envelope and as a return address. And Joe will pack it as full of stamps as we could get inside, as full of stickers as we can get inside the envelope.
What, do you think that the post office doesn't know how to deal with that trick? They just throw it
away.
Yeah,
they return it to the return address.
Yeah, I don't think it works like that. I think that scam came up a long time ago. All right. Denny Hamlin wins the Daytona 500. We really never got to do that because we were early in the week that I really don't remember why we didn't get to talk about the Daytona 500. And then this week, results would have been on Monday from Vegas. Joey Logano wins the race, Matt DiBenedetto second, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. third after a very chaotic finish to the race. But I want to talk all about Ryan Newman and that crash because for the first time in a long time, I thought we lost a driver. And I know it's very different now, and the impact of the situation is very different right now because we all know that we didn't lose a driver and that Ryan Newman is out there fishing with his kids and showing up at Roush and all of that. But that 3 hours, or however many hours it was very, for me, self-reflective. I really was thinking deeply about this. Like, I've met Ryan several times, and I knew his career, and, he's not my favorite driver by any means, but, like, it's a different thing, and all of a sudden, like, oh, are we going through this again? What's it going to mean? What's going to happen? All of these things. The good news is he was okay. The way the response worked, those black tarps going up, the people rushing to the internet to try to be first, prayers for Ryan, hashtag trending, all of those things. The great news is that we didn't have to experience the really negative outcome. But there's a whole lot to learn from that experience. One is that safety is a moving target, and we still got to keep shooting at that target. And, can a car get hit in the driver's side while upside down? Yeah, it can. So I have no doubt that they're going to do some things to reinforce the cars. It hit right on him. The fact that he is still with us is incredible. Watching the video from 100 different ways, I knew it immediately that this was going to be a bad one because I feel like I've got a good eye for that. There's that number one. Is he concussed? It's not our position to speculate, right? There's the HIPAA laws, there's all that stuff. But I have no doubt, there's no way that he wasn't, get his bell rung and then some from that hit. Hitting the wall, flying into the air. Now, the finish of the Daytona 500, as spectacular as you can get. That was incredible. A lot of people were talking about, well, this is, the drafting and the bumps and the bump drafting and all of that stuff. And I don't know what to say. When the flag is in the air and you're talking about winning the Daytona 500, things are going to get crazy no matter what in countless different ways. And I feel like this is an example of that. Ryan got bumped. He's steering into the spin. He was way in front of it, and it just wasn't enough. Denny Hamlin having the lead, losing the lead, getting the lead back. Just a spectacular start to the NASCAR season. And, dear Lord, baby Jesus, thank you for not putting us through, not for taking Ryan Newman away, for not putting everybody through. I don't want to make it sound selfish, but it is on behalf of all of us. His family, everyone. The ultimate horrible experience there. Because we get to go forward and enjoy racing, right? As opposed to what that would have been. I'm just so thankful that Ryan Newman was okay and that we can learn the many valuable lessons. The camera is zoomed in on the fuel is leaking out, and you're expecting the vehicle to burst into a fireball. It was horrible. But fortunately, we dodged all of that, and we're able to go to the next race. But, always, always, always consider that can and will happen again, and we should always be reevaluating everything we do at all times to make sure it doesn't happen again, because it's never over. That's all I wanted to say, and I wanted to put it out there on WFO. I know, very serious. Very serious. In race 2, Vegas, while we were out there in Arizona, Joey Logano gets the win. Joy goes out there, gets the job done. But nobody cares when Joy wins a race. They do care that Matty D, the show's driver, is second. And Gio, I really think that we, as a collective, but more importantly, me as an individual, has done a great job of identifying the talent that is Matt DiBenedetto.
Yes, you are a talent scout.
How many times have I been talking about this guy? For a long time. Like when he was at the back, I remember vividly. Matt DiBenedetto, huh? Let's see what this guy does. It's the Italian last name. Oh, Matty D. And watched him go from 30th to 20th to teens to top fives, now second. Incredible.
Yeah, and on the 1.5 mile track.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like it was some sort of...
He's got a good car. He's in the 21. The Wood brothers with the relationship with Penske. And so he's definitely in a good car. And now he could show his talent. And let's see what he does in the fast car. Look at that. He's had 2 very good finishes.
The other car had a Gibbs relationship, but I agree. This is a better car. And look at that, second in his second race. And he has done well. And you never know. Like Matt DiBenedetto, is he... playoff contender? I think he certainly is. Go out there, get a race win. We'll see. Remainder of the results, obviously, Denny Hamlin won the Daytona 500. I'm just going to scan down the top 10 for Vegas since we are getting ready for the weekend, right? And Gio's going to take this, and he's going to install the first, 5 seconds of Freestyle Jam, Look Out Weekend, Here I Come. Who is that, Debbie Deb? I don't even know. Joey Logano.
Yeah, I think it is. But no, I'm not putting...
You're rejecting the work. It's fine. Everybody, whenever I say weekend, you just imagine the first couple of notes of Debbie Deb, Look Out Weekend. You can probably look up who exactly that is. And nobody knows Debbie Deb, but that's fine. Matt DiBenedetto second. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. third. This is Bare Bones WFO Ignition. I told you folks, this is not the one to judge us on. Austin Dillon fourth. Jimmy Johnson fifth. Bubba Wallace sixth. Brad Keselowski seventh. Kevin Harvick eighth. Kyle Larson ninth. Ty Dillon 10th. I'm not doing well in the fantasy already. Not doing well in the fantasy. And I don't even know. Like, I had Ryan Newman. He was on my bench for the Daytona 500. Just like all kinds of sideways. Things are not going well. All kinds of sideways. This weekend, Auto Club Raceway, Auto Club 400. I see Rich and Saugus is out there. I reached out to Rich to see if we could get him on the show when I thought you were coming into the studio. But since we have, can't necessarily merge calls, we're not going to open the phones tonight. I want to get Lowe on the air as well because Lowe's Chincones and Little Lowe came out to Arizona. I actually really like Arizona, Gio. It's kind of a cool place. It's in the running. Too hot during the summer. Can't handle it. Too dry. Start drying out. But right. So really, I'm not going there. But
so it's the opposite of us. We live in the swamp, and that's the desert.
But everything else is the same. Like
Right.
It's new. Everything is new. You don't have a lot of old stuff. A lot of shopping malls. A lot of strip malls. A lot of things. A lot of interesting. A lot of nightlife. A lot of fun. You can see why it is one of the other major homes of the Super Bowl. And you can also see why NASCAR wants their NASCAR finale there. Blow already has got his tickets, all of that stuff. You can see it's an event town. And we had a great race. We had a sold-out race. NHRA Nitro, the interviews are all in the archive. So when you get done with Ignition, if you're listening on the WFO Radio app or SoundCloud, do nothing. Just stay put. And you'll hear Erica Enders, Tommy Johnson Jr., Steve Torrence, and Alan Reinhart. Steve Torrence, man, people will hold a grudge against you if you piss them off. The grudge holders against Steve Torrence that are out there on the social media, they don't even want to hear the guy's voice. He wins a race, first race back. It's a big deal. The champ back out there, all this stuff. The guy is contrite about his problem. They don't care, man. Don't ever mess up, Gio. They'll hold it against you forever. They say how, what is it? To err is human, and to forgive is divine. These people are not divine. They do not care. They are not forgiving. They say forgive and don't forget. Like, right, forgive, but don't forget. Forgive and forget. Forgive and don't forget. No. The motto of the most people out there on the social media and the internet is, don't forgive. Screw that guy. That's the motto of most of the people out there that I'm encountering. It's very interesting. You can even see it in the numbers. You can even see it in the numbers for the interview.
That's what I was going to say, that you could see the numbers on his are, below what others, not only others are, but what all the other shows are getting for the last few weeks, this whole calendar year, you could say.
That's amazing to me. Like, people don't even want to hear from him. They don't even want. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear from him. They don't want to hear his voice. They're angry. But to me, his infraction was not worthy of that. Right? Like, people are still want to hear from OJ, man. They don't want to. Steve Torrence is more of a villain than OJ right now for most people. It's pretty crazy. The drag racers.
I gotta tell you, I don't follow him on Twitter because I don't know how to feel about the whole thing. I feel kind of like dirty by doing it and giving him an extra follower. Which, by the way, he's got a whole crap load of them.
We're talking about OJ, right?
OJ on Twitter is definitely worth the listen, man. This guy starts every conversation. Hello there, it's yours truly.
Oh, really? He doesn't even know that you just tweet. Hello, everyone.
It's quite hilarious, man. Yeah. Like, they're quite funny. It was during football season. He was always talking about fantasy football, and I gotta admit that I would, I don't follow him, but I would definitely follow where it was trending and click on the video and listen because it was just. I'm sorry, I know I'm gonna be burning in the lake of fire, but I find some of these things that that happen in life just too funny, man.
So the moral is that Gio follows OJ, is what it is.
I do not,
Yeah.
but I secretly do without being a follower. So
Listen,
yeah,
we're both
I don't know.
exactly. How do you know without being a follower? It's actually worse that you're going to like the website and you're searching him out just to see what he said on this given day.
No website. It's from Twitter. You just go to Twitter and it's trending, and so it's like, oh God, what did OJ say yesterday?
We are both in trouble.
Hello,
on
Twitter.
this.
It's me, yours truly.
We're both in trouble on this because I compared Steve Torrance to OJ, who killed people, and so we're both off on a bad tangent. And don't have a bad tangent, man. Don't have a bad tangent. Don't have an erroneous thought process that you maybe regret at a later date as soon as we conclude this show, because people will hate you. Let's hope that the WFO listeners understand that we are just going through a thought experiment right now. And there you have it. But Ignition is going to bring it into the weekend, and you will be good to go, as we have got a lot of good stuff. Erica said a lot of great stuff. Who else said a lot of great stuff? Tommy Johnson was great. It was very interesting. And Alan Reinhart was pretty incredible. The big bounty. I love the bounty. Kevin Harvick puts a bounty on Kyle Busch, and it really shows you $50,000 for any Cup Series driver that enters a Truck Series race and beats Kyle Busch. And then Marcus Lemonis from Gander Mountain, Marcus from the Prophet, he matched it. So it's $100K if you're a Cup Series driver to beat Kyle Busch.
Yes.
And that's
he's
been
only
Gio's
racing,
analysis.
Is
it was
4
great.
total or 4 more races?
Well, 4 more now.
Right, because I guess you get. Oh, you're right. If you're a Cup driver, you can only go to 5 truck races.
I got a problem with it though.
What's that?
Offer the bounty to the truck guys too. The guy's only in 5 races, right? 4 more. So a Truck Series regular that beats Kyle Busch, who is a young kid. You see these truck guys in the Gander Mountain Series. They're 17. They're 18. They're young, right? They're young. And one of them beats Kyle Busch. Give them the money. They probably need the money well more than some Cup Series regular. Like Kevin Harvick is handing his $50,000 and Marcus Lemonis is handing his $50,000 and $100K to someone who's got a Cup Series drive, and they're knocking down over $1 million a year. Okay, but you're not changing lives or anything. Whereas one of these camping Gander Mountain truck guys wins it, they don't get the money. To me, that's, I don't know. It's something weird. I don't like it. It's like those that have continue to have. Have and have. I don't know.
Well,
you get what I'm coming from on that?
I think you're looking at it way all wrong. That wasn't the intention of this. That's
What's
not
the
how
point of
out.
it? Beat Kyle Busch.
Because people were saying that, it's easy for Kyle to just go in there and beat these guys because of the talent difference is kind of one of those things.
All the more impressive if they beat him. That I don't know. I don't understand. Maybe I read it
Kyle
wrong.
Busch has won X amount of truck races that he's entered in a row now.
Rightfully so.
So,
yeah. Well,
man. Look, the whole thing is a positive thing. We don't need to even consider that this negative element, because if one of those guys does win, I don't think that they're not going to get that. He's not going to pay the money and say, "Oh, sorry, it's only to someone that's a Cup driver." The point is that Kyle Busch has won 5 truck races in a row that he's entered, and he's got 4 more. And this is an incentive for somebody to come in and beat him.
Well, I hope that is the case. And if that is in fact the case, and anybody does happen to beat him, they should get the money. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying it shouldn't be limited to just Cup Series guys, because who cares? Beat Kyle Busch, get the bounty. It's not like beat Kyle Busch while wearing a Burger King crown and get the bounty. Like, beat Kyle Busch, get the bounty. And if that is in fact the case, and I am reading it wrong and misunderstanding the nature of the bounty, then I'm fine with it. I'm under the impression.
Even if it's only for Cup drivers, it's going to get more eyes on the truck race by having these big names come in to try and race the truck.
Yeah, it's okay, but
I just don't see it's a win-win no matter what.
I guess it is, but I think you're a truck guy. You beat Kyle Busch, you get to win the race. That's great. Good for you. Cup guy gets in there, gets to win the race. He gets an extra $100,000. I don't know. I just don't see the reasoning. But whatever. That's, we can differ. I can have my little caveat. I still think it's good. I like bounties. I like that Harvick's putting up 50,000. I like that Marcus Lemonis is digging into his pocket for an extra 50,000. Hey, man, 50 grand is a lot of money. Still a lot of money. There's the sky is very high, but $50,000, that would change my life a little bit. And I know it would change yours a little bit as well. All right, let's delve into Fantasy League standings.
I got to tell you, man, in order to change my life, I need a few $100,000. 50 grand would be nice, but it's not changing my life. It's just going to relieve a few of burdens off my plate, but it's not changing my life.
It would ease some things up. I get what you're saying. I need
high six figures to change my life.
High six figures, huh?
Yeah.
No, a $250,000 would change your life. A $250,000 would take a lot of pressure off, man. You'd be able, you'd be
what
good.
Would?
$250,000.
Yeah, yes, it would, but it wouldn't change my life.
I get what you're saying.
Change my life would be like $1 million so that I don't have to work anymore and I can pay off my mortgage and I can put the rest of the money to work for me and I don't have to work anymore.
Yeah, it's
but
crazy.
50 grand just paid some bills. And I still have to continue to work.
Well, of course you got to work. You got to work. Listen, you should want to work. It's not about you got to work. You should be happy showing up to work.
What I'm getting at, what I'm saying is you're saying 50 grand will change your life. And if I gave you $50,000 right now, it wouldn't change your life one bit. It might ease off some burden of a couple of bills that you have to pay.
I get what you're saying.
You couldn't stop working. You couldn't do anything. You might buy something with it.
I'd go buy a brand new GMC Dually. Oh, and then have a payment. It'd be a low payment.
You couldn't because that truck costs like 80 grand.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said I'd have a payment.
But again, right. Okay. So you will go and you buy yourself a $50,000 or a $100,000 car cash. But does that change your life? No, you just got a new car.
Oh, the women will be all over the place. No, I get what you're saying. Your point is taken.
I guess we have different.
You dive so deeply into every point. It's not really the nature of it. All right, here's the Fantasy League. The overall leader, Motorhead 55, followed by Hockey Kid. I think Hockey Kid won the first week. Motorhead 55, followed by Hockey Kid, who has two top fives on the week. Why
didn't you say the top 10 for the week?
I'm because I went to PDF.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. No, I'm on the website. I'm on WFORadio.com. Fantasy League results for week 2, where we have a top 10. We have the biggest loser.
That's happening. I thought that wasn't happening this year. No, there it is.
It's happened every week so far this year. 2 for 2.
Every single week. Well, yeah, this is much easier.
Well, there's been 2 weeks, and it's been there twice. So it's happened every single week so far this NASCAR year. Yes.
That's incredible. All right, here we go.
How about that?
Hockey Kid, 332. Aviator Racing, 319. We got to get to know Aviator. He's been with us since the early days. Double O Dead On, third, 314. Day Racing 21, 313. Uper 1, 313. Tom Inc., 308. Royal Flush Racing, 306. Los Chingones, 306. And Beer Rita Racing, 306, along with Easy E009. Everybody tied for 7th through 10th. The most points, Hockey Kid, 332. Up 3 positions. Aviator Racing, the biggest gainer, up 29 positions. Biggest loser is TS6690. That's an interesting name. Only 124 points. Down 51 positions. This is where all the big moving happens here. And I am just can't go anywhere. Motorhead 55 is first, followed by Hockey Kid and Garrett Senkow. Garrett is a drag racer from Brainerd, Minnesota area. Has got a Super Street Pinto that he races and is in our league for the very first time. Total NHRA Nitro listener, and I think he got it off of Insta, which is interesting. Day Racing 21 is fourth. Sith Racing. Ooh, I like that. Sith Racing is 5th. Patrick the Webmaster 6th. Bug Barn 7th. Royal Flush Racing 8th, which is not Bob Smith. I don't know who Royal Flush Racing is. 8th. Money.
Bob Smith is like a racing in Vegas name. I forgot right now. But
Young Money.
The list and I'll tell you which
Kyle Law Nitro Fanatics. 8th. Car 24 Fan is 10th. Uper won 11th and on down. Now on the 5s. Los Chincones is 13th. We'll get to the 5s. Fleet Tree, 14th. Your boy Fleet Tree, who hopefully we'll be seeing out there in Houston, Texas at Houston Raceway Park presented by Pennzoil. Ray Indy is 15th. 20th is Smothered and Covered, just behind 00 Dead On and ahead of Racing 5032. Geo, you're tied for 16th with Aviator.
Woo!
25th, Miss
Except
Shift.
I dropped 13 spots and he gained 29.
Yeah. Miss Shift Bent Valve, 25th. Spider Monkey Racing is 28th. That's Gary. What's up, Gary? 30th is RJ9688. We got a bunch of those names where people are just like letters and numbers. I wonder what that's all about. Just behind JJ Husker Fan and ahead of Bad
They're just
Brad.
bots.
Maybe they're bots. Mr. Fantasy NASCAR, the champ, tied for 30th. Team Gray down 17 positions at 34th. 40th, Logan Mania. Logan Mania in the mix. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, Logan.
That's Jason
Your
Logan,
coworker.
Team Mellow Yellow, or Team NHRA, Team AAA. Logan Mania. Just behind Driving Hard and Recky Stinkhouse. And just ahead of Highline Real Fine and Chicken Pit Special. The Chicken Pit Special. Fastest chicken in the South. Love it. That's from Stroke Race. 45th, Dirty Hippies. Just ahead of Marvin Rodak. Actually tied with Marvin Rodak, the 826 guy. 50th, Southern Racer X, who is just behind Team English and Stubo for the first time this year. 55th, DRT Girl number 2, Dirt Girl number 2. Just behind Dirt 99 and just ahead of Vlad the Inhaler. Let's see. 60th, Rich and Saugus, just ahead of WFO Joe. I'm 61st. And it looks like we have 75 people playing, which is an expansion of last year. A lot of people failed to check in on their league. They were in the league, and they gave up, and they failed to check in. And it might have been the people who stopped playing last year, like maybe they lost their password or something like that. But I would say 75 people in the league is plenty.
It is. That's a big number.
Yeah. 75 people in the league. And Low Blinker Fluid, who is dead last, scored 221, is only 420. Obviously skipped a week. I think Low Blinker Fluid probably missed a week. No, he was in the top 10 2 weeks in a row. How is that possible? How do you finish in the top 10 2 weeks in a row and still be dead last at 428 points?
No, that's a typo.
Yeah, Pat the webmaster's got it all figured out. I don't know. Yeah, it says he's got. Oh yeah, there's definitely a typo. He's got 2 top 5s. He's got 4 top 10s. Yeah, it's all wrong. Low Blinker Fluid. He's going to ask for a recount. And so there you go. Fantasy League results in the books. Enjoy. It's been fun. I've been trying. I've been diligently setting my team. And at this point,
I forgot to switch my team after Daytona, so I was stuck. I just flipped and used the 4 drivers that I had on my bench at Daytona, and that's why I dropped the anchor.
You're way ahead of me, though. And I switched them out, and I put some thought into it, and none of it mattered. Hey, I want to name check our great sponsors.
Goes to show you.
These people who make it possible here on WFO Radio. Starting off with Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, and I don't know if you've heard this one, Gio, but Frank and Lana Hawley have invited me on March 27th to go to Gainesville, and I'm going to be a part of the Dragster Adventure class. It is a Friday, and the class starts at 8 in the morning, and it goes till 3 in the afternoon, and I'm going to be in the class, and there's going to be a race at the end of the day, and I'm going to be in the race. There are 5 spots or 3 spots remaining. I'm going to be in there. You don't have to do it, but if you live near the Gainesville area and you're thinking, man, I'd like to be in a class with WFO Joe in the Dragster Adventure, March 27th is the one. Go to frankhawley.com or call 866-480-7223 to do it. I am super excited about this. I'm going to fly up there from Miami to Gainesville so that it doesn't, it's not like a 5-hour drive and all of that stuff, et cetera. I can get in and get out pretty quick. But I'm really excited about this, Gio, because I've always wanted to do the Dragster Adventure, and now I get a shot to do it. And not only am I going to do the learning portion of it, I get to do the challenge, the race. And there is a trophy available, and I've got a nice spot cleared right here in the studio for it.
Look at that.
There's a couple of questions, though, that I am...
I mean, you might be getting ahead of yourself, but let's see.
Well, I am definitely. There's a lot of pressure. Of course there's a lot of pressure. I know. I mean, I've got a spot. It's just an empty spot. There's probably going to be some really good people in there. But I feel like this is something that I should be able to contend for. Right? Win, not necessarily. Contend for. Now, automatically, just like your local go-kart track, when you go there, there's the possibility of getting the bad car. Like, who knows what's going on? Like, we have customer races at the NHRA, and there are a bunch of cars all like Toyota Camrys. There's always one that is the really good car. So there's only so much you can do. As you can see, I'm lowering expectations already. But if everything is...
I don't know, man. I hear that, if you talk about how you defeated Matt Kansas.
Yes.
And...
Wow. Haven't heard about that for a long time.
And, I've been witness to every time we've had some sort of media type affair that you've gotten in a car that you kind of, put the whooping on the other media members.
County line dragway track champion. Lots of different great racing success.
If I have to, if I'm going to, be the house here and put some odds out there, I'd have to make you the favorite.
Joe versus the field.
That might be, like Tiger in the days when it was Tiger versus the field, who you got, and Tiger would get most of the money. Yeah.
Well, see, exactly. So your job is to come up with a way that we can exploit Joe versus the field for this deal. I'm going to be putting it all over the social media. Hopefully there will be some video. I think that Steve Brenwald, who's doing our fantastic artwork from Brenwald Media. By the way, for those of you out there who are in businesses and all, if you're looking for graphic arts and design, Steve Brenwald from Brenwald Media is doing great work for WFO Radio, and you guys are seeing it. And he's a really nice guy. He's a photographer and takes drag racing photos, and you can check him out at BrenwaldMedia.com, and he's going to be there to document it since Giovanni in Miami did not want to drive the 5 hours, which I totally get. Neither did I. It's actually much easier. But we got.
It actually takes 6 hours from where I live, but yeah.
Exactly. And it's not the drive up there that's the problem. It's the drive back. It's like, it's a lot of driving, man.
Yeah, it's 390 miles from my house, dude.
Florida's a long state, very long state. But Joe Castello does the Dragster Adventure. There's only one place you're going to hear all about it, and it's WFO. What will happen? Will he win? Will he lose? Who do you got? Joe versus the field. Prop bets of all kinds. But here's my real dilemma, okay? Do I wear my own helmet that I own and carry it with me? Do I bring my own fire jacket and fire pants that I own? Or do I go in there incognito and just wear the Hawley School safety equipment and be like and be undercover? That is what I'm really laboring to decide. If I wear my own helmet, then it's immediately a tell to everybody else. This guy's got his own helmet. Going to have to tighten up. If I go in there undercover, then I'm just one of many. I'm just a student at the class. Nobody knows nothing.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to tell you. If we were going to come in there and pull like, a Paul Newman in The Hustler, then you would have to use the Frank Hawley stuff, because otherwise they're going to know that you're just a ringer with your own. I mean, if you got your own fire suit, that's usually a hint and a half.
Well, exactly, and also I will have to carry it. It will be something to carry. It will be something to monitor. I will have to worry about it. I'll have to think about it. I'll have to have it. Now, don't get me wrong. It will be cool for the photos because it is a cool black Darth Vader helmet, and it's got WFO on it. But at the same time, I could just bring some stickers and put some stickers on the Hawley ones. You don't have to give me an answer right now. Dwell on it. And all you WFO radio listeners, what do you think? I am leaning towards doing the Frank Hawley Dragster Adventure experience just like I advertise it, which is show up with nothing.
Like a fan.
Yes. Show up with nothing. Just show up and see what it is. Not bring my own helmet, my own fire jacket, and all that stuff. No, just me. That's what I'm leaning towards, and for ease and simplicity. And the fast edity part, too. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. All you young people out there, look, you can tell we're passionate about our sponsors because they do great things. These are not just people who pay to be on the show. These are people who do great and amazing things for people and for the country, and, training people for their education and a career that they're going to love is just a great thing. Samtech does that, samtech.edu. Total Seal Piston Rings. I went to Total Seal, Gio. I was out there. I got the whole tour, the whole place.
Oh, yeah, so now you know their deepest, darkest secrets.
I know a lot of deep, dark secrets, and it was very impressive. Hopefully everybody's listening to the Hidden Horsepower podcast. We got some more coming up. It's going to be great. Don Ott, who is an engine builder up there, Pennsylvania, sprint car engine building legend. For those of you interested in the sprint cars, Don Ott going to tell us about how he builds engines for sprint cars. We're going to hear from Keith Dorton. Keith down in NASCAR country, legendary engine builder. Incredible interview. Just to give you some insight, Keith Dorton's first paying customer was Ralph Earnhardt, Dale's dad. He spins some yarns about Ralph, about Dale, about working together. Keith's brother, Randy Dorton, worked at Hendrick Motorsports and was killed in the plane crash. So just to tie it all together, we're going to have Keith on Hidden Horsepower by Total Seal. If you're building an engine and you need piston rings, well, come on. Total Seal should be. Your WFO radio listener who's an engine builder, it's probably a good idea to try the Total Seal. Just saying. Not for us, for you. MagicDryUS.com. You don't go on the Facebook. We had an incredible moment from the Magic Dry pit with Scott Palmer this past week. I don't think you were able to see it, but Palmer's two sponsors, Nick Trask and Brian Bostwick, employed me in a ruse to trick him. What we did was we made him think he was doing a Facebook Live for NHRA's Facebook page and about these Trask motorcycles, and instead they presented him with one. And it's an incredible, like Evel Knievel style Harley-Davidson motorcycle with a turbocharger. And Palmer didn't quite break down, but he was very emotional, and it was amazing. It was great. And this all happened in the Magic Dry pit. So cool stuff happening there. Get Magic Dry if you've got a shop. And then finally, Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com, hot sauces and spice rub. I shared one of Marvin's posts on our Facebook page. Hopefully you follow along on Facebook. And the grills that he has got, like we're always talking about the coffee and the hot sauce and the spice rub because we assume that people they don't want to spend like giant chunks of money in one deal. But right now, everybody's spending giant chunks of money. Like, it's now's the time. You know those ceramic grills, Gio?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And there's one that is very popular that's green that everybody.
Yeah, that is shaped kind of like an oblong.
Yes, like an oblong. It's green oblong is what it's called. Right? Like a legs pantyhose.
How you like me now?
Yeah, oblong, and it's green. The oblong green, which is, we shouldn't be doing that because remember our friend Rob D'Amico, he actually works over there. But Marvin is a dealer for one called Primo, which is better, right? And because it's got this divider in the middle. And that's what makes it better is because you can put the charcoal on one side and something different on the other side and get all this great convection going on. And it's got this housing for it. Anyway, you got to check out the post. But Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com, Fort Worth, Texas, is so much more than just coffee and hot sauces and spice rubs. We're always talking about it. Give Marvin a call, 817-924-6821. Don't go to the big box store. Get something next level from Marvin at Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. He's not just coffee, folks. He's grills, too. Thus, thegrills.com. 817-924. And the spices and just so many great things there. Condiments. He's got a whole condiment section.
And don't forget your habanero endorphin sauce. That's the best one.
It is. It is the best one. Like, I would love to purchase the rights from Marvin to that. Like, I could see myself wanting to market that. Like, that's incredible. The Habanero Endorphin Booster Hot Sauce by Marvin. Like, amazing stuff. And plus Drag Racing Edge and EV3 Drag Racing. All right, news. Fernando Alonso is going to run the Indy 500. You may recall the other day we talked about how Honda wasn't going to let him run it because he said some negative things about Honda. Well, joke's on you, Honda. Now the Arrow McLaren SP team has partnered with Formula One world champion Fernando Alonso for the 104th Indy 500, and he will be running a Chevy, the '66 Ruoff Mortgage Chevrolet. So, if he goes out and wins the race, joke's on Honda, right? Because now, so Alonso is in a Chevy. That is very exciting to me. Now, remember what happened last year, by the way. They don't qualify, so there's no guarantee.
Right.
But you would think that after being publicly humiliated in front of the racing world, that the folks at McLaren are going to come back strong this year. Wouldn't you? Like, doesn't that make sense? That's not going to happen twice, is it?
You would hope not.
You would hope not. And what else is interesting is, get this.
It seems unlikely, actually. How about that?
We've got the Dixie Vodka 400 coming up here at Homestead Miami Speedway, March 22nd, which is not that far away. It's less than a month away. We are getting ready.
Sounds like 3 weeks from now.
For NASCAR to come back to Homestead. I have applied for promotional tickets. We're right in the middle of the show. So if you're listening, you're a diehard WFO radio listener. Here's the deal. If you can use the tickets, we're going to have a couple pair for each race. If you can use the tickets, email me, Joe, at WFOradio.com, and they're yours. First come, first serve, obviously. And, is Dan Elephant Racers going to be here for that? Like, we don't know, but if he wants to be, he's got the tickets. So here's the thing, though, and I find this to be interesting. Beginning next weekend, we've got the Baby Gators on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is the Gator Nationals Lucas Oil Series Division Points race. But it's the Baby Gators that Alan tried to call
the 8th and 9th, or 7, 8, and 9.
Right. Okay. That's going on in Gainesville. I believe class eliminations for the Gator Nationals is going to be run there. Alcohol cars are going to be there. That's going on in Gainesville that weekend. At the same time as that, in Orlando, Wes Buck, Richard Freeman, and Elite Motorsports are promoting their World Door Slammer Nationals, which is a $300,000 payout, pro stock, pro modified race at Orlando Speed World. So while the alcohol cars from the NHRA are going to be in Gainesville, and the .90 and stock and super stock and all the Lucas Oil Series cars are going to be in Gainesville running the Baby Gators points race, all the pro stockers and pro modified series racers, you would imagine, are going to go to Orlando Speed World for the World Door Slammer Nationals, which we talked to Wes Buck. It's in the archive. You should listen. It's pretty great. And since that interview, Bo Butner and Dave Kramer have announced they're going to do a best-of-3 factory stock showdown match race with their two cars for $25,000 of their own money. They're basically, it's winner take all. Loser pays $25,000, from what I understand. That's going on in Orlando. In Bradenton, there is the NMCA, National Muscle Car Association event in Bradenton, Florida, over there. So on the 8th, the weekend of the 8th, Gio, you've got a huge drag race in Gainesville, you've got a huge drag race in Orlando, and you've got a big drag race in Bradenton, Florida. Got that?
Wowzers.
The following weekend, the Gator Nationals are in Gainesville, Florida. This is March 14 through 13, 14, 15 or something, whatever the Sunday is. What's the Sunday? The Gator Nationals is a huge NHRA
14, 15, 16.
14, 15, 16 NHRA national event.
Is Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
East Coast opener. Going on at the same time as the Gator Nationals is the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg IndyCar race in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Wow.
Yeah. So, the first weekend we discussed...
So Gainesville and Tampa area have Major League Racing that weekend.
Absolutely. So, the following weekend, Homestead Miami Speedway has the Dixie Vodka 400 NASCAR Gander Mountain Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and Cup Series weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway, while at the same time, the 12 hours of Sebring are going on.
Wowzers. Can you get any busier?
So, why am I pointing this out? I just find it to be, one, Valhalla for racing fans who also have nothing to do and a whole lot of money. That's number one. If you're one of those retiree racer types who can just go somewhere and do something for 3 weeks, you should come to the state of Florida, because you can literally, like, from St. Petersburg to Gainesville is a couple of hours. You could go to Gainesville on Saturday and then go to the IndyCar race, and then you could come down to Homestead, and you could come zip back up to the Homestead to see. You got to end in Homestead, I think. Sebring, probably not going to happen. The Sebring to Homestead run is too far. But there's a lot of racing going on in the state of Florida for the next 3 weeks. That's the point.
It sure sounds like it.
Well, it's incredible.
This time of the year is a good place to be.
That is the glasses half full spin. The glasses half empty spin coming at you in 3, 2. What the heck are these people thinking? Motorsport is a challenge anyway.
There's 18 events going on over the next 3 weekends.
How much money do people have to spend on this stuff? Orlando, the Baby Gators, the NMCA. So there's only so many drag racing fans in Florida that weekend. I think people will probably go to Orlando. If you're south of Orlando, you're definitely not passing Orlando to go to Gainesville for the Baby Gators unless you really love Stock Eliminator. And that is the whole bit. What do you like is going to get tested in the state of Florida. Like, this is the motorsport primary for King Motorsport. What will draw? Because people are going to be spent out of their disposable income, because none of these things are cheap or free. Everything costs money, right? The cheapest ticket, I don't know what NMCA is. I know you could get into the Baby Gators for very low amount of money. I don't know what a ticket is for Orlando. I don't know that. And I know Cup is going to be probably the high water mark down at Homestead Miami Speedway. But that's the first race of a new era, and it's actually going to be a lot of fun. They got some stuff. I will be working in the Cove, Geo, which is the area that we always hang out in. It's just named the Cove now. But isn't that crazy? Like, how many major motorsports events are in Florida?
How do you do over there? Because that area is completely different than what you're accustomed to what we're regularly accustomed. It's no longer like a private area. It's open. You could just walk in that one entrance and out the other.
I'm going to be on the big 105 iHeartRadio stage.
Oh, that's not in that area. That's probably like out.
No, they said I'm going to be in that area. Well, where's that?
You know what? You're right. There was a stage there, and there's a lot more bars, and there was food trucks in there now.
What about the that Dale Jr. meet and greet extra ticket that you sent me today? Do you think I'm doing that?
You saw that.
Do you think that's going to be happening there?
That could be.
Right? I should.
Where else could it be, right? Or unless it's on one like near the Coca-Cola stage or something.
Yeah, it should. Well, that would be serendipity, wouldn't it be? But anyway, we got tickets, folks. Joe at WFORadio.com. If you want them, Dan, you get yours. But we'll see who comes down. And it's a very, as Gio and I have been tracking the story, it's, who knows? Like, I hear tickets are selling. Like, I hear people are into it. So we'll see. We shall see. We shall see. Do you know anything about the Formula One race in Miami? I saw that there was a story and that...
Actually, I do.
Yeah. No, there's an update.
The commission voted and approved the race.
That's fantastic.
You hear me?
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah, they approved it. I think something like 5-2 or something like that. I don't know what the numbers were, but they approved the race.
That's great.
Is the long story short.
Oh, look, Formula One Miami Grand Prix has even got its own website. Interested? Get the latest updates from Tom Garfinkel and Sean Bratches. I think anybody who saw the Super Bowl and the way the stadium looked and how amazing that was, the Grand Prix is going to be right there, all around it. They're going to go up in there. It's going to be a jump over the stadium. It's going to be great. I made that up. But I am all in on this. They're going to have the cars go up those coils that we have to walk down after the game. Well, that is great news. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. like at the when you go to the Dick's Sporting Goods right here by my house.
Yeah.
So you have to go up that circular driveway.
Exactly. We're going to race the cars up there. Formula One car, get up there real quick. All right, we're almost out of time here. Happy weekend, everybody. That's right, the weekend. Right? Is it Debbie Deb? You still haven't looked.
I think I sent you an email there. I guess you didn't see it.
No, I didn't see it. My email's not open. You can tell me.
Well, maybe
open your email, Joe.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have SportsCollision, and then we can get out.
Oh, here we go. Look at this.
Don't you want to talk about the big fight?
Well, yeah, I do. I'm upset, but I'm loading up Debbie Deb right now. I'm trying to get her to play. It's not playing.
Interesting.
Maybe because you're on?
Anyway, I do believe that a couple of days ago they voted for it and they got the situation approved. And it looks like there's going to be a race. Remember, I told you, man, there was just too many people on the wanting to get this done side of it.
Well, exactly. After you see the Super Bowl, why would you not invite this massive event to come to town? It would be like, we've made the mistake so many times. We've talked about it on the show. Back in the 70s, the NFL wanted to make Miami the permanent home of the Super Bowl. Now, I don't have expectations that it would still be the permanent home of the Super Bowl, but certainly like for 10 years or something, you know? And like, how great would that have been? In the city of Miami, all they had to do was refurbish the old Orange Bowl, which is no longer in existence. And they were like, nah, we don't want to do that. We don't have to spend the money, money. And how often does that happen with like local governments? They don't want to spend money because they don't want to, raise people's taxes. And I certainly understand about that. But, what is that? You step over a dollar to pick up a penny. And that's pretty much what they did. You get a chance to get Formula One in your city for a very reasonable rate. You do it. You do it. Because remember, this is the new era of Formula One with Liberty Media, and they want to be there. Okay, testing-wise, I know you have been doing a lot of analyzing the Haas F1 folks. I can tell you that, Ferrari was quick on day 2, but now Ferrari is being accused of sandbagging. Ferrari is saying they're not sandbagging, which is frightening to me. Like, I was hoping that they were sandbagging. Mercedes has debuted this new, like, dual plane steering situation where Lewis can... Yeah, he could pull the steering wheel back and it changes the angle of the front tire. It's like incredible technology. There's a lot going on with Formula One testing. Haas F1, I saw Rogro's report. He says, they're putting new parts on the car and trying them. I was disappointed with his report that you put out there. I need deeper analysis.
Hey, man, I'm tweeting all the Haas F1 stuff.
You are
man.
tweeting the Haas
I'm doing my
F1.
job. I'm promoting. I'm wearing my stuff out every day. Now that it's been cooler, I've got that the fleece one on.
Oh yeah, you're wearing the fleece. Yeah, but that's the one with Rich Energy,
Yeah.
a sponsor that doesn't exist anymore.
That's the one. Yeah, but it's got the pockets in it.
Yeah. Well,
Top of the line stuff.
I love
man.
the new scheme, man. I like the new car. I think the new car is awesome. Like I'm very
I like
excited.
it too. I like that gray with the white.
So
I think it works very well.
The quickest lap of week 2, day 2 testing from February 27th, which is, I guess today. The quickest lap.
The Ferrari was fastest. At least when I saw earlier today, Ferrari.
Well, yeah, but what I want to give you is the relationship from Ferrari to Haas F1.
Okay.
1:16.84 for Vettel, 1:18.22 for the Haas K-Mag.
1684 to 1822, so about a second and a half. Almost.
About a second and a
1.4
half,
seconds.
yeah. A second and
1.4
3/10, which I don't think is terrible.
Right.
Magnuson says, overall, it's been a very positive day. We were delayed a little bit at the start of the day, and we chose not to run in the wet conditions at all. We simply did our install lap and then waited for things to dry. We got a full race simulation in at the end of the day, which was nice to get completed before we head to Australia. It's always very interesting to get your first feeling of how the car evolves over a race distance. Today allowed us to experience that for the first time, and it was very positive. We'll keep working tomorrow and look ahead to Australia. Gunther Steiner says, and by the way, that week of the Motorsport Hell Week that we talked about, the Gator Nationals / St. Petersburg weekend is also Melbourne, Australia. Same weekend. So make no plans. Make no plans. Just another day of testing. Nothing exciting happened today. You could say it was uneventful. We got a bit late because of the weather. Gunther Steiner not giving us much of anything. They're keeping it very close to the vest at Haas F1 right now, which is fine. But I'm excited. But we got to bounce back. We have got to bounce back this year. You cannot have 2 bad years in a row at Haas F1. Oh, look, career opportunities. Let's see what I can get. I've read and I
You want to go work for Haas?
We were. Okay, let's see what's available here. Open positions.
You have to move to Europe?
Well, yeah, I think you do. Things that Gio or Joe are able to do. Okay, there's the Aero Performance Engineer. Aerodynamics. Can you do that? Aero Performance Team Leader. We could be in charge. Gio, you could be in charge of aerodynamics for Haas F1.
Dude, that would be great because I'm so aerodynamic myself.
Adrian Newey just draws pictures. You guys should do that. Junior Aerodynamicist Engineer, Protected Categories, Italian Law. So you need a... and it says people with disability.
So you have to be Italian or something.
Well, I think you need to be a person with a disability.
So.
And then, right, you're looking at it now, right?
Yeah.
And then trackside IT systems technician. Let's get Patrick the webmaster over there. Put him in a very pressure-cooking atmosphere. I like to look at jobs that I am not qualified for.
IT systems guy sending Pat. Where you say, oh, look, you're sending him to England.
Right. I think Pat could do it.
Pat.
Pat.
He does speak the language.
Banbury, Oxfordshire. And he speaks the language. Now in our 5th season, we have... This is how they pitch Haas F1 to you. Join the newest successful Formula One team. At Haas F1, we are looking to grow our team and have an exciting position available in our IT department. This is an opportunity for experienced and team-oriented individuals to make a substantial impact with a small, fast-paced team. We are a young, dynamic, and expanding team that is building and open discursive environment full of opportunities for motivated individuals pursuing a challenge. Haas F1 team is designed to allow the best and brightest talent to excel within the premier form of racing in the world. The team debuted in the FIA Formula One World Championship in 2016, becoming the first American-led Formula One team since 1986. Founded by industrialist Gene Haas, the team is based in Kannapolis, North Carolina, USA, with team operations in Banbury, UK, and Parma, Italy. Now, in our 5th season, we have proven to be competitive with our uniquely designed team that has quickly demonstrated a desire to win. How about that? That kind of sounds cool. They're pitching me. It made me want to work for them.
Yeah.
General summary. This is what you need to know, Pat. This position reports to the trackside IT team leader or their designee. It is located in Banbury, UK, and responsible for the deployment, support, and development of trackside IT systems for Haas F1 team. They will play a key part in ensuring the delivery of best-in-class IT to the company and its users. And then it lists all this stuff. Oh, here's one. Podcast production. Oh, neat. Yeah, I don't even need to tell you that's obviously not true. Podcast production. So what do you think of the Lewis Hamilton steering system?
I heard it was outlawed already for 2021.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's like you can't do that.
Hey, I'm all for, let them do whatever they got to do. And, but I understand that they want to make it accessible to everyone. And look, Mercedes came up with something and, they when they go to the new regs, it's been banned already. And let's see if it gives them an advantage. I mean, it definitely looks pretty cool. Like I guess it's giving like pointing the wheels in and out.
Right.
Like all-wheel steering.
It changes the camber. It's called, okay, here we go. Dual axis steering. Axis, not access.
Right,
axis. Dual axis steering. It's called DAS. It just introduces an extra dimension to the steering and the driver that we hope will be useful during the year. That's all. Come on. Why are you banning our stuff? Precisely how we use it and why we use it, well, that's something we'll keep to ourselves. Says
that's proprietary. Of course.
Yeah, of course. You don't need to know that. I think it is great. Mercedes issues defiant statement after Lewis Hamilton car legality questioned. Lewis Hamilton was captured with a moving steering wheel this morning. Mercedes has been forced to deny any wrongdoing. Mercedes sparked mass...
Well, what are they going to say, really?
Bunch of cheaters.
Yeah, we think this is like way on the outskirts of the rules, and we think it should be banned immediately. We, a shame on us for even bringing it to the track.
Yeah, it only costs $500,000 to do. Mercedes sparked mass debate among F1 circles this morning this is a couple days ago, folks, when Lewis Hamilton was captured with a never-seen-before attachment to his new W11. The 6-time world champion was spotted pushing and pulling the steering wheel to change the alignment of his tires. When the driver cam footage was broadcast on TV, mechanics from every team crowded around the pit lane monitors in awe of the innovative technology. I'm going to tell you what's happening in a minute, okay? I've already got these guys figured out. All of the different constructors' employees were left scratching their heads at how and why the Silver Arrows were implementing such a device. Pundits on TV and sports on social media were unsure of the legality of Mercedes' new trick, and they hope it will give them a championship advantage this season. The Silver Arrows technical director, James Allison, felt the need to explain his team's development midway through the second day of testing at Barcelona. We would shed a great deal of more light than what you see on TV, but we have a system in the cars. It's a novel idea. We got a name for it. It's called DAS, Dual Axis Steering. It just introduces an extra dimension to the steering, and we hope that it will be useful to the driver. Precisely how and why, it's something we'll keep to ourselves. When pressed on whether Mercedes was worried about being punished for potentially breaking the rules and regulations, Allison said, "Not really. This isn't news to the FIA. It's something we've been talking to them about. The rules are pretty clear about what's permitted on the steering systems. We're confident that it matches all of those requirements. Hamilton racked up a mammoth 106 laps in the morning session, 29 more than the second highest, Roman Grosjean. However, the Brit was only able to set the 7th quickest lap time, with Racing Point's Sergio Perez leading the way. This is the first test. During lunch in the second day, Hamilton explained how it felt driving with the new steering wheel. I've only had one morning with it, so I don't really have a lot to talk about with it. We're trying to understand it. Safety-wise, there were no problems. The FIA are okay with the projects. For me, it's encouraging that the team is innovating and staying ahead of the game. That's down to the great minds we have working with this team. And I love it. I'm against the fact that they've got something crazy and new that's going to beat Ferrari. But at the same time, that's what Formula One is all about, right? All about it. And that story is from The Express, the home of the Daily and Sunday Express. It's UK Sport Mag. Express.co.uk. Michael McKenzie. Okay. This whole steering thing is a ruse for what they're really cheating with, which we don't know what it is.
Right. This is look over here.
That's
nothing going on over there.
Look at this amazing steering wheel thing that everyone's using. It's not going to be on the car for the first race. What will be on the car for the first race, we won't know what it is because they're cheating with it and they are hiding it because we're all talking about the steering. I guess. Maybe. And there you go. There's been your F1 report. All right, let's talk Sports Collision because we're almost done. Deontay Wilder, the big fight. Tyson Fury. I'm so sad. He got
Tyson Fury whooped that guy's ass.
He was never in the fight. He never looked good. He got hit early in the fight. His eardrum got ruptured. His equilibrium was off, and he hung on for a couple of rounds, and then his guys threw in the towel, like Rocky should have done when Apollo was fighting Ivan Drago, and they threw in the towel, and that's that. Tyson Fury.
Well, they had no choice. The guy's eardrum was shattered. He was bleeding. It's a miracle he didn't go down way earlier. That he was even able to fight as long as he did. Like,
it was.
With your ear shot like that, no equilibrium, but he from the very beginning, it really looked like in this bout, Fury just whooped him.
He did. No, it was nonstop. Well, apparently, Deontay Wilder came into this fight 20 pounds heavier than...
Well, they were both significantly heavier, yeah.
Right, and Wilder is not that big a guy. He couldn't carry the weight, I don't think. I don't think that was a smart decision to come in all heavy and, and try to fight at a weight that you're not used to being at when your opponent, is a bigger guy, man. The guy is Fury is 6'9", man. He's a huge man. And he beat him up. That's it. There's no debate. There's no excuse. There's no nothing. I like the way Wilder took the whooping. He said, "Man, I got beat. If you want to be the best, you got to fight the best. I fought the best. I lost. I hope you enjoyed the fight. I like him still. I'm still a fan." They have announced it was in his clause. He gets a rematch. But Sports Radio Vlad and I were having a conversation about this. I don't know if he can beat this man. This man is big. The first fight, Fury outboxed him and got caught and knocked down 2 times late in the fight, and that is why they tied. This time, It was just a total drubbing.
Fury kind of beat him the first time too,
Fury, well, yeah, Fury.
You know what I mean? Like it was a tie, but and I didn't have a problem that it was a tie, but it's almost like Fury kind of won that one, really. Like if Fury had won it, you wouldn't have been like, oh, he got robbed.
Well, he got knocked down twice and got was almost counted out, so that's why it was a tie.
Once too, I think, right? Didn't he knock him down once in the other fight?
I don't recall if Wilder got
anyway,
knocked down.
But I tell you one thing I didn't like in Wilder, as much as we like him and he's American and all that. But by the way, this whole thing is great for boxing because people have been talking now about heavyweight boxing, and because when you think boxing, Pacquiao and Mayweather have been, get news and they've had the big fights recently. But boxing is really, is at his best when the heavyweights. When you think boxing, you think Ali, Frazier, you think Larry Holmes, Mike Tyson, like the heavyweights always. And these guys here have really brought that back in the last few weeks. I think that's why a lot of people are excited about it.
What about Rocky Marciano, Gio?
One thing I want to say, though.
Rocky Marciano, undefeated heavyweight.
Yeah, well,
the guy should have been one of the first couple guys you should have said, Rocky Marciano.
Yeah, but come on, Marciano, 1,000 years old. And by the way,
Babe Ruth's 1,000 years old. You say Babe Ruth?
Ring with Fury.
When you talk about baseball,
right?
Rocky Marciano would destroy any of these guys also.
Rocky Marciano gets into the ring with Fury, and I don't think he's coming out, man.
No, man, Rocky Marciano, like heavyweight back then, is very different.
Yeah, like a 5'2" Italian guy. And
no, well, you can't be 5'2" and be a heavyweight.
Look, I know I'm exaggerating.
Let's do the Rocky Marciano stats.
Guy,
no, I don't know. I don't know I don't know. That's the answer. I don't know. Oh, 5'11", 188. The heavyweights were different back then. This guy is 6'9", 260.
Right. Okay. Exactly. And that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, but he's still a heavyweight.
Yeah,
that's
he was created in 1930 or whatever he fought. But today, come on, he would have to fight a guy that's
47 to 55, Gio, 49-0, and against the contemporary competition, he's still great.
Yes, but not in today's game.
No, well, not against this 6'9" guy that weighs 260. No, definitely not. And the Klitschko's were huge guys too. But I agree completely. Heavyweight boxing. I put it out there. Is anyone going to watch Wilder Fury? And there were several people that were like, we don't know what that is. That shows you how sad it is. That's your height, right?
And by the way, so Marciano was actually smaller than me, about an inch taller, but a good 10 pounds lighter.
Well, yeah, but he was all muscle.
Okay. Now, okay, again, but nonetheless, you're talking about a guy roughly my size, but muscular instead of fat, versus, those Goliaths that fought the other day, man.
No, I'm not denying that. Well, it's the steroids in the chicken, man. It's the steroids in the fast food, man. The steroids. Like even Ali, man. What was Ali's size? Look him up.
Yeah, I think he was still in the 6 foot range and maybe light 200. But
let's look at it.
But
there's a great thing on the plane. Mohammed. It's called What's My Name? Muhammad Ali, a 2-night HBO doc, which I watched the first half. Really great, all documentary footage of Muhammad in his own voice, and I found it to be very, very interesting. I'm having trouble finding Muhammad's height and weight.
I see he was 6'3". I haven't found the weight yet, but they're listed as heavyweight, so obviously.
Right, he's in the category.
But he's 6'3", so that's still, that's pretty tall, man.
210, 250, yeah. But not 6'9". Like, gee whiz.
No,
you're a 6'3" guy, you got to fight a 6'9" guy.
We've seen it in all
the
sports.
Reach.
I mean, think of football players when we were kids in the late 80s. The giant, remember the big deal was the refrigerator Perry was the first big 300-pound guy.
Yeah.
Now everybody's 300 pounds across the line on both sides on every team,
The steroids in the chicken. That's it. It's from all the steroids in the fast food.
Chick-fil-A, man. The Chick-fil-A.
Well, don't say anyone. We'll get, they'll say, hey, we don't have any steroids. But bottom line, it's great that heavyweight boxing, I love the legacy sports. I get excited about the Kentucky Derby and the Triple Crown. Once a year, it's just part of my year. It's a thing that happens over the course of a year. The Kentucky Derby and the pursuit of the Triple Crown. Is horse racing cruel? Is it terrible that they sell the horses that can't run and they make, like send them to the glue factory? Yes, it's terrible, and I'm against all of that stuff. But I still will go place a wager on a horse race because for me, I like the idea of staying connected to the previous century, right? Heavyweight boxing, same deal. Not into the MMA, not into UFC, not into any of that stuff. Don't care. Don't like it. I'm not interested in it. Conor McGregor, don't care. Couple of heavyweights get in the ring that I'm watching. And so now Tyson Fury has got the unified belts. And like his group, he took Wilder's belts and and now he is being challenged by Anthony Joshua, who's got the other belt. And if Tyson Fury beats Anthony Joshua, he is the unified champion, and it's like the first time we've had a unified champion, I don't know, maybe ever, right? Because there's all these new belts that are popping up. Wilder gets a rematch against Tyson Fury. And so Wilder could have been the guy to do it, but he's going to have a tough go of it against this Tyson Fury man.
Well, he's going to get the rematch, but I don't know if that means that he has to be the next fight. I think that he's going to fight Joshua in between.
Well, that means Tyson Fury is going to be fighting 3 times in 6 months, because I think that the fight has to happen within 6 months.
Really, I didn't look over all that, but yeah. The one thing I will say that I didn't like Wilder, he blamed wearing that big, heavy. He said that I think they came out that the costume he was wearing weighed like 40 or 50 pounds, and he kind of, took it saying that might have had something to do with it. And it's like, you can't blame that thing. You shouldn't have wore that thing if you're going to be able to use that as an excuse.
No excuses.
Now, mind you, I completely agree. You shouldn't be wearing a 50-pound armor to walk into a sporting event that you're about to participate in.
No excuses. He got roughed up. He got roughed up. That's it. Just didn't have it on this given night. Maybe we'll have it on another time. I'll watch it again.
Like Smokey would say, you got knocked out.
Yeah, but he didn't though. He actually soldiered on, and he told his guys he was mad. His guys threw in the towel. I still like him. I think he's a likable character. I appreciated that I hope everybody had a good time at the fight. It lasted 6 rounds or whatever, but they threw in the towel on him because he was just trying to survive. He said, I want to go out on my shield, which means he wants to go out like Apollo. No, big mistake. Blaze of glory. Don't go out like Apollo Creed, okay? Do not.
Right, no.
Don't throw in that towel. No, throw in the towel, Rock.
What about this guy singing American Pie?
Well, the way he came in, the Gypsy King, the way he came in on the throne to some really slow music, I forget what it was, and then singing American Pie. I find Tyson Fury to be...
how about with the girls carrying him in on the throne?
Yes.
You neglected...
How do you know all this stuff? You didn't buy the fight. You're not going to buy the fight.
Of course I didn't buy the fight, man. But,
Yeah, I didn't buy the fight either.
Let's not get into that.
That's why, Anyway.
Well, you saw it anyway, and you didn't buy it, right?
I didn't buy it. No, I fortunately, I was able to take the fight in a select group of people, a watch party. It was Brian Loans who bought the fight, which is another story.
The hotel room?
Yeah, on his iPad.
Oh, okay.
And we set up the iPad. We went up to one of those executive suites in the hotel that they give you, communal suites, and we gathered around. We gathered around the iPad, and we watched it on the iPad, and it was great. We had a great time. I have no ill will towards Tyson Fury. I like him. I like him, too. I just want to root for the American. I don't know why. I have this thing where if there's 2 athletes, and one's from the country that I'm from, the United States of America, our country, I kind of consider Olympic rules always in play. I know there's people, they root, they root for the white guy because they're white. Or they root for the black guy because they're black, or they root for the guy from Alabama because they're from Alabama, or they root for the guy for the beard because they got a beard, or everybody's got their own reason, and they're all allowed to do whatever the heck they want. But Deontay Wilder from America, American heavyweight champ, man, that sounded good to me. Not Tyson Fury from UK and Anthony Joshua from UK. And what's up with the UK? They got the best boxers all of a sudden, and they got the best Formula One racers, and they got the best everything. What's up with the UK? Where did they get the best of everything all of a sudden? I mean, again, after the British Empire.
But they had Riddick for a while too, and there's always been some good British heavyweights. Lennox,
right? No, they got a good boxing tradition. So there you go. Okay, there's boxing talk. See? Oh, and one other thing. I guess that Conor McGregor wants to fight Manny Pacquiao.
I did not know that, but
yeah, because he knows that's where the money is.
Like $100 million for fighting McGregor.
Floyd.
Mayweather.
Yeah, and someone said Floyd might come back. I don't want him to come back. No, enough. No more. All right, what else? Spring training, pitchers and catchers.
Spring training,
Real spring training.
Yankees already full of battling injury bug.
You want to hear a story? A real story?
Sure.
So, everybody knows, if you get this far into WFO radio, that I work as an announcer within the NHRA. And it's a traveling circus, and you get to know a lot of people. And it's It's a lot of fun. There's all the different personalities. And, I know who the Red Sox fans are, and I know who the Yankee fans are, and we have all these different – we all love drag racing. We all work in drag racing, but we have all these different cliques of different things that are going on. And there were Astros fans there. And so when the Yankees and the Astros and that thing was going on, we had a lot of little back and forth going on, like smack talk, as you can imagine. Well, what has happened with the Houston Astros, it has been very troubling to me, and I've talked about it on the show. You may recall even Gio had forgotten all about it and just moved beyond it and just let it go when it shouldn't have been let go, and it should have been a big, big deal. Unfortunately, you guys, as the WFO audience, you were brought back into it really right before it all flared back up and has become a massive thing. And Gio has come along. To his credit, he recognized that it is a huge, huge, huge deal.
Yes.
Anyway, unsolicited, I wasn't busting chops. I wasn't doing that. A guy named Brian who works at the Mellow Yellow display. He knows I love baseball and that I love baseball, and I'm a Yankee fan, but I love baseball in general. And he saw me, and I was not thinking about this. I was thinking about something else. I was in work mode, and we had a minute. And he goes, "Hey, Joe." I was like, "Yeah, hey, what's up?" And he's like, "Listen, man, I just want to apologize." And I was like, "For what?" And he goes, "Well, on behalf of Houston and, the Houston Astros, what has turned out to be the case," he goes, "it's really a crummy thing for baseball. And, I know you love baseball. And I just want you to know that, I'm a Houston Astros fan, and I am disgusted by it, and I'm saddened by it, and I'm embarrassed by it. And the people that I know from Houston are embarrassed by it, and we're very sad for what we've done to baseball." And, man, I thought it was the most genuine thing that I have heard, because most of the Astros fans that I have encountered are happy to take the ring. You know what I mean? Yeah, sorry, we got it. We had the party. We got the ring. We champs. Ha ha. We did it. Which, I guess is the case. This was really nice. It was really nice to see and I, of course, man, we all lose. It's really what happens, because now trust is gone, right? We're back in this area where trust is gone. And those guys are going to get just destroyed everywhere they go. And most of the people I talk to say that they agree with you, Gio, that the World Series should be vacated, that the players should be punished, the World Series should be vacated, and that there should be nothing for that year. It should be the year that something terrible happened. Scandal.
Well, there was a year that they didn't play with World Series, so there was no champion that year. So, to me, I see it that way already. It's already been tainted. So,
yeah. Well,
might as well.
But anyway, I thought you'd enjoy that story because it was so odd, unusual, and unexpected.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and they're going to be seeing, look, guys, Astro players have been already brushed back and hit in every spring training place. And by the way, that's just here in Florida, and they've been booed. And
yeah, what about that, by the way?
Around the country, it's going to be great.
So the Astros get an unfair advantage. If you come inside on them, you've already got a warning. You could get thrown out of the game. So you basically are giving these guys the inside of the plate now. I'm against that, too.
No, I don't think that's going to happen like that. Look, this will play itself out. Guys will get hit, but it's not like they're going to knock them in the head, No. It is what it is, man. That's how baseball has a way of policing itself, sometimes in ways I don't agree with. But in this case, you know what? Those guys deserve whatever they get. They didn't get suspended, and while people are calling for that, I understand why, because of the whole players' union situation. And the players' union, while a lot of the players are the ones mostly that are upset that nothing happened, in the end, the players' union would have had to defend these guys, and it would have dragged around forever. And Manfred, understandably so, was trying to just get a quick punishment out there and hope to, essentially sweep this under the rug, and didn't think it through. And I think if he had punished the team and the ownership more and, heavy-handedly, maybe there wouldn't be such an outcry now, because the story won't die down simply because of of what Manfred kind of ignored it and tried to brush it on there and then said something as ridiculous that the trophy is just a piece of metal.
Oh.
And, that just lit a fire under the players too. I mean, look, Rob Manfred wanted to get the best player in baseball, Mike Trout, to talk, and he finally did. But he just didn't want him to have to talk about how bad the commissioner is.
Right. So anyway, there's that. Severino, Tommy John, I mentioned that early on in the show. Terrible, but whatever. I mean, we could have probably this is one of those things that's been going on for several years. It's probably best that he just gets the surgery and middle of next season he'll be back.
Well, he'll be out all year, and then next year he'll come back, but he won't be all right, and he'll be good at the start of the following year, which is generally how it works for that. He'll come back next year at some point, but he won't be, at 100% till the following year. And that's how it is. Like, at least that's what it seems like with Tommy John, that the first year guys come back, they're just getting used to it, and they're not really back yet. The second year is when they start pitching like they used to.
So our year of dominance
terrible,
is...
This guy last year was hurt all year, and then he came back, and in the playoffs game, he had to come out after 4 innings, remember?
Yeah.
And they said in the offseason that they didn't find anything, and they were trying to, I guess, rehab him back. But now, as they got closer to the season, that they found some loose bodies or whatever, and then now he's got the Tommy John. It's I got to tell you, the minute that he got hurt again in the playoffs, I kind of thought like, oh wow, this guy's going to end up getting the surgery, and I was really surprised that he was okay throughout the off season. But I'm not surprised now that they had shut him down immediately before he even barely pitched. But I think him getting the surgery is probably the best. He's still a young guy.
Yeah.
And if they want him to be able to come back at any point, this is really, and, it is what it is, man. I guess guys get hurt all the time now. Really, they just do. Just Stanton got hurt. Did you see that?
I know Paxton got hurt. Stanton?
No.
I saw you texted me
Stanton.
something. Well, that happens every year. Stanton gets hurt.
Yeah, but not every year. Unfortunately, he was hurt most of last year, but the year before he played almost the whole season. But this is terrible now. Another calf or something, a strain. I'm beginning to think if maybe he's just too muscular for the situation. Who knows? But yeah, look, it's injuries, whatever. This team won 103 games last year, and without Garrett Cole, and now they got Garrett Cole. So let's see. I still expect them to win, close to 100 games, if not 100 games, and win the East. Now that Boston traded Mookie Betts and they're a garbage team that is trading away arguably a top 3 player in the league, if not the second best player around.
Right. What else?
I'm completely against that. I don't know how anybody could be a fan of the Red Sox and have their team trade a generational talent away like that over some nonsense and claiming that they can't afford to pay him when the Red Sox are one of the wealthiest teams in the league.
Yeah.
Like, as a Red Sox fan, like they
I didn't yell at
burning Fenway Park down.
I didn't get a lot of time to talk with Lowe. After the race, I was running around. I got to hang out for a few minutes, but I definitely should have attacked him about that. I should have definitely brought that up. All right, whatever. Let's keep it going. Final thoughts. Any other? We still got plenty of time before the draft. Although the Dolphins are not going to take Tua. They're saying now. The big discussion.
I agree. I don't think they should have taken Tua.
Vlad disagrees with you.
Once the rebuild became as big as it did, you're not a quarterback away.
Vlad says you're wrong, though, that Tua is going to be a standout talent.
I don't know. I disagree. First of all, the guy's been hurt in college. And historically speaking, if you get hurt in college, you're going to get hurt in the pros. And I'm not talking about just one injury. He seemed to be nicked up each of the years he played. It was always a little something. And he's lefty. Historically speaking, not many of those guys turn out to be, Steve Young.
Right. Well, we shall see.
Look, you know what? I'd rather take a chance. Even if he turns out to be that, the Miami Dolphins are not one player away. And so the way that the league is now, when you get your quarterback, you have a real fine 3 to 4 year window to win while you can afford him on the rookie scale contract. because by year 4 and 5, you're going to have to pay him $30-40 million, and he's going to take up a chunk of your salary cap. And the Dolphins are not one quarterback away. They have still no defensive linemen. They're about 3 offensive linemen from having a good offensive line. You know,
right?
Like, come on, be realistic. The minute that they traded away every single player that was worth anything for the draft picks, it's really like you almost can't pick the quarterback because it would be a waste, because now you're going to spend the next 2 to 3 years just drafting players to put around him.
Okay, well, now you're making me feel sick. I don't want to talk about it anymore. No, they got to get a quarterback with the number 1 pick there,
man,
Giovanni.
And I told you that
crazy man.
Tanking that way is not the way to do it.
No,
it's just not.
You don't know what you're talking about. Your analysis is not right about everything, and this is one that you're wrong.
It's not, but you know. Look, I even gave you the example. Look at the best quarterbacks in the league right now. How many of them were picked even in the top 5 or top 10?
Well, I understand. Well, we'll see. But if you're the guy, like, this is called the contrarian attitude right here.
You know, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Those guys, none of those guys were picked in the top 5 or top 10. Dan Marino, of all of those, is the only one who's even a first rounder, and he was a 27th overall pick.
Right. So you're the guy with the juice, and you're sitting up there on the stage, and you got the decision to pull the trigger on one of these quarterbacks. You're not going to take one of those quarterbacks. You're going to go and, like, wait down for a 3rd rounder and pick somebody deep in there to be your quarterback. No way. No chance.
But what I'm saying is that the tanking, it was the whole element of getting rid of every player on your team that was good and worth anything, because now you have so many holes. And yes, you got a bunch of draft picks, but even if they had the number 1 pick right now, what good is it to take Joe Burrow when you need 8 Joe Burrows on your team, not 1?
Yeah, but you got $120 million of cap space. You got a lot of stuff. They just got to be very active in the free agency. They got to be very active. You're just very anti. You can't.
I just don't like the whole tanking element of it.
Yeah, but they didn't tank, dude.
Look at Kansas City. Kansas City has the best quarterback in the league, and they got him with the 11th overall pick. They didn't have to tank to get him. They traded up from wherever they were picking to 11th because they had scouted a guy, and they went and took him where, you know, like, you don't have to tank for and give away and you don't be garbage, because look, they wanted to tank and be terrible, and they still wound up winning 5 games, which is, by the way, 5-11 is a horrible season, but not horrible enough.
Okay, but listen, we can't go there, because you're like a slithery snake in that you change your argument from time to time over the course of the year, and then you twist back around. But I remember what you say originally.
Well, it changes to the effect that from day one I said, if you know, you can't tank like that. I didn't like it when they traded away their number 1 pick from the last 3 years.
Let's not look backwards. Let's look forward.
Hey, I wish them well. I think they have a guy who's clearly a pretty good coach, and players are willing to play for him.
You're second guessing. You're constantly second guessing. Like, it's just constant second guessing. You can't do that. Okay, do you have a coach you like or you don't like? You got a coach you like. Do you have upside or not? You have upside. You've got many draft picks and a lot of cap space. That's it. They got to make something work.
Let me give you the very big negative. That the guy, Chris Greer, still making the picks, has been around making picks for now 3 to 4 years, and and they want to build from offensive line in the trenches, and we're about 4 years in, and there's still about 3 offensive linemen from being good, and they have no defensive linemen. And yes, they got a bunch of picks and a bunch of money, but no,
man, you love his picks. His picks have been really good.
Otherwise,
his picks have been good. You were just complaining that they traded away the picks. They were so good, you were complaining that they traded them away. So obviously the guy's got the talent to make the picks. Let's move on. Nobody else cares about the Dolphins' sadness. But that is a theme of Ignition, and that, Dolphins' crying towel is a big part of it. It's a big part of WFO Ignition. So what else? Final thought. Anything else?
No, that's it. NFL Combine going on. The draft is coming up. NBA season going on. D. Wade's jersey was retired here over the weekend. Cementing his status as the greatest South Florida athlete of all time.
Yeah, I'm going to let that go. But I get it.
I guess that's about it.
Definitely the greatest South Florida championship athlete of all time.
As opposed to?
I guess.
Is there anything else? Isn't that why we play the game?
Championship
to win,
athlete. Well, yeah, I'll just let it go. Dan Marino. But I'll just let it go.
What about Marino?
Marino was.
How is he? Look. It's a fair assessment.
Trying to let it go.
Dan Marino is not considered. Is he considered the best quarterback of all time?
He was for a while. He's been surpassed, but yes, he was. Absolutely, he was. He was considered the best quarterback of all time.
People thought Marino was not as good as Montana because of the championships, because in the end, football is about winning championships.
Well, listen, everything's about winning championships. And during the era, when they were on the field, people considered Marino better. Joe Montana happened to go to a team that was a better team with a defense and a running back and that kind of stuff. But when it came to like playing the position, everybody agrees Marino was the guy, and he had the numbers and was more exciting to watch and amazing. It's just very sad that he was on a team that did not have the parts necessary to win those championships. And as a football player, he's just one of many, a small percentage. Whereas Dwayne Wade, who I love, by the way, and is one of my favorite athletes, and I loved him since the very beginning when he first got drafted by the Miami Heat, is 1 of 5 on the court and a much smaller difference maker, and was fortunate enough to be able to play with LeBron James and Shaquille O'Neal, and he won championships, and I'm super great about it. But the excitement that was Top Gun Dan Marino in the 1980s has yet to be surpassed by any athlete here in Miami. And I stand by that.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree, because for 4 years, the Heat were the greatest basketball team in the world, and they were the most entertaining, and they made it to 4 straight finals. And
Dwayne Wade wasn't even the best guy
I gotta tell you, right now,
on that
town, if the Dolphins win, that's a different story, but they haven't won since we were like infants.
Yes.
And they haven't even been relevant in almost 25 years, maybe more. And this has become a Heat town until the Dolphins finally win again. The Heat are the biggest name right now in this town. They're bigger than that.
Indisputable.
D. Wade is his Finals MVP of 2006. I think he was probably the best player on the court in that Olympics in 2008 when everybody
love Dwayne Wade. Like, you don't have to pad the stats. I love Dwayne Wade, but you're comparing him like I'm sorry. I lived through both. I lived through both experiences. Yeah. And, the difference is that, like basketball and football is maybe a slightly more mainstream. Maybe basketball has come on as of late. But I'm just telling you, I think that Dan Marino still gets the spot. I think it's a worthwhile discussion. But I love Dwayne Wade. Love him. Hall of Fame, titles, appreciate it. But basketball is a little more niche than football, especially in Miami.
Yeah, not anymore, man.
That's the thing. Wait until the Dolphins make the Super Bowl, and you will see what I mean. And they may never. That's the thing. Like, they may never. If they do, if there is ever a Dolphin team that is good, you will understand what I'm trying to tell you. That it will be front page newspaper every week,
you, man,
leading every news.
That I know you have this sentimental thing with Danny Boy, but D Wade is, put it out there, man. Go call your sports radio show. D Wade is the biggest South Florida athlete and the most decorated, and
that's indisputable.
Clearly surpassed Dan Marino, man.
Well, yeah, you get what you're trying to say. You're just like, listen, this is, the sporting of today versus yesterday. And let's see, what Gio at 47 years old, in 10 years, there'll be a new hotshot kid coming in on another team, and you'll be taking that kid's side against Dwayne Wade. You'll be like, Dwayne Wade has been surpassed, and you'll be cheerleading that too. Not me, man.
Dwayne Wade at this point you can argue, is the third best two-guard in the history of the league.
I love Dwayne Wade. I was a Dwayne Wade fan. I bought Dwayne Wade shoes, the first available.
And some will tell you he's better than Kobe, but I mean, that's not something I can say now because of the whole Kobe situation and what happened. You know,
can't say
Kobe's
that.
Become a deity. But.
Invented the Euro step, had all these amazing things. Love Dwayne Wade. But it's just a different gear, man. It's just a different gear. The Miami Dolphins, where there was no Heat. There was no Marlins. There was nothing else. It was the Dolphins only. He was on stage by himself, alone, throwing hundreds of touchdowns, leading incredible offense, an offense that the likes of which has never been seen again under the similar rules. Everybody pretty much agrees that Marino would throw for 80 touchdowns under the current rules. 10,000 yards.
60.
Well, exactly. And so that's why it's not, you're making a comparison.
There,
making a comparison like this is unnecessary. It's unnecessary. That's the thing. Speaking of sports radio, that's like such a sports radio discussion. Like force people to argue, right? Like sports radio Vlad, it's sports radio Gio. Hey, let's
that's why I did that to you, man.
No, but you didn't though. I recognize, I called it out as unnecessary. I tried to avoid it. You pulled me in and I let you, just for the sake of conversation. But then I felt like I made really strong points and won the argument, which is what matters most. So that's all I've got on this given show. My notes, I saw Joker, I saw Jojo Rabbit. I'm not.
And fact-checking, and I'd like to fact-check. According to Kevin Harvick, he tweeted on February 22nd, I'll put up 50,000 bounty for any full-time Cup driver who races a truck and can beat Kyle Busch in his next 4 races, was the actual tweet.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Gotta be fair and square. First full-time Cup driver to beat him. Can't wreck him, and everything has to be fair as in any other race.
Okay. And I get what you're saying about how that's still cool, but do you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but the thing is that he's won 7 straight races he's entered. So obviously nobody, and I think this started because people on Twitter were just kind of diminishing the fact and saying that, oh, Kyle comes in there and he's got superior talent and superior equipment. How can he not win? And Kevin Harvick kind of came to his defense and said, hey, it's not as easy as you think that it's for any Cup driver to just come in there and win. And I think that's the point. Like, here, I'll show you. And I'll put up $50,000 to anybody that can come in and just beat him, because it's not as easy as people are. That's what he's saying. That, hey, what Kyle Busch is doing is because he's a great driver, and it's not easy like people think.
Well, if that's what he's trying to prove, then I guess that does change it. It's more of a challenge to the other Cup drivers than it is to just beat Kyle Busch. And that makes sense. All right, well, good. Here it is, an ignition. But what's up for the weekend, man? It's the weekend. Everybody's getting ready for the weekend.
It's the weekend.
Look
We're
out,
going to
weekend.
Fontana.
Here I come. Because weekends are made for fun.
Made for fun, yeah.
All right, that's it. Say goodbye.
Bye. All
right, there goes...
Enjoy the races, everyone. We'll see you next week.
There goes Giovanni from Miami, and, of course, myself. And there it is. All right, everybody, that's it. That's a WFO Ignition. Hour, 51 minutes. This guy, he's going on and on and on and on and on. But I don't care. I think we had a great show. It's been a long time. Better when he's in the studio. All right, everybody, see you next time. Hit the archive. WFO.
WFO! The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
Yeah, welcome to the party.
Bye.